One thing I like to say about the fan experience too, and I've said this about golf, is that I believe that the NASCAR fan experience can be anything that the fan wants to experience. It can be anything they want it to be, whether they want to skip all the fanfare in the fan zone and just go straight to their seat and wait for the race to begin, or if they want an experience with the family and enjoy our kind of kid zone within our fan zone where we have some games specially designed just for the kids. We also have some value meals that will happen at the concession stands to make sure that it's really affordable for our families, along with free tickets on Saturday for kids under the age of 13, and then also $10 tickets for kids in NASCAR. So we're really trying to make it as affordable as possible for the families.
Please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps the channel, and I appreciate it. Las Vegas is known as the sports and entertainment capital of the world, so it's natural that the Las Vegas Motor Speedway combines both elements. My guest today, Patrick Lindsey, is Senior Vice President and General Manager of the Speedway, and he's here to talk about the upcoming Pennzoil 400 on March 15th. The NASCAR event weekend includes the Pennzoil 400 presented by Jiffy Lube and the LiUNA NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race on Saturday, March 14th. There's immersive fan experiences and a full weekend of entertainment surrounding the race itself. For ticket information, go to lvms.com. That's lvms.com. And Patrick, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, great. You joined the Speedway, I think it was in March of 2025, right?
That's correct. Yeah, coming up on a year.
Wow. So share a little bit with our audience, both listeners and viewers, about your background a little bit before joining the Speedway.
Yeah, a great question, obviously, to lead us off here. Really, my career, I've been in the event business for really my whole career. I was in South Florida, got my MBA in sports administration from a small private college down there called St. Thomas University, where I was introduced to the PGA Tour. So really, my 20 years that I have in the event industry is all in golf. Um, uh, in my opinion, though, the good news is that to me, events are events, right? They all have the same components. There's parking, security, fan activities, bathrooms, right?
Food and
And
drink.
then the competition, right? So all events really encompass the same stuff, and you have to lead with good customer service and putting together a good plan and move on from there. But so I was in Miami for about 10 years working as the operations manager for the PGA Tour event that was in South Florida. And then a position came available here in Las Vegas to be the tournament director for the Shriners Children's Open, which is a fall PGA Tour event, to which I interviewed and got the job and was there for 10 years. And then this amazing opportunity came across my desk when the illustrious Chris Powell decided that after 26, 27 years, that it was time for him to retire. And I got a phone call to see if I would be interested in the position. And it's hard to say no when you have a track like Las Vegas Motor Speedway and everything that goes on here. It's hard to say no to that opportunity to be a part of that, to be a part of Speedway Motorsports, and to be a part of the Smith family, and to almost kind of go back to my roots, which, as I've talked about golf and being 20 years in golf. Prior to that, I'm from the mountains of North Carolina, where it's about racing. It's about racing and college basketball in the mountains of North Carolina. So not a stranger to the sport, but definitely coming back and learning about the sport again after being in golf for 20 years. But so far, 11 months in, soon to 11 and a half months in, soon to be 1 year. It's been a great experience and excited for many years in the future.
Before we get into the specifics about the two races, a little bit about the Speedway for those people who have not been out to the Speedway yet. We have people listening and watching from outside Las Vegas as well, which clearly a lot of your fans come in from out of town as well
Sure.
as the local. So give us a little bit of brief history. I know it's a lot of history, but maybe in a couple of minutes, the history of the Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, and I'm still learning all of it too. Still being new, but Las Vegas Motor Speedway is, 1,000 acres, and we are the largest sports and entertainment complex in the state of Nevada. Like I said, it's 1,000 acres, and it's not just, our super speedway, the track that's in, our large oval where we have the Pennzoil 400 and South Point 400. We have outside of that, we have a drag strip where we host tons of events. It's probably single-handedly the busiest track that we have, but it's a drag strip that we so famously called the Strip, right? Like, why not? And we have an NHRA race that will happen this October. And then we also have a dirt oval. That's the top of our property where we just hosted Monster Truck Rally, and we'll have the high limits racing by Kyle Larson and his team during the race weekend. Then we have an outside road course where we host a lot of private events. Along with a track called the Bull Ring, which is a third of a mile short track oval that is really used a lot for just our local racing series. It's called the Bull Ring. And to me, there's no better racing on our property than the hard nosed style racing that local racing is. And it is a lot of fun. And then we have a very small, like kind of dirt BMX type track as well that we have some corporate events at. And then inside our super speedway, we have our inside road course that we have some driving experiences on. But the property is massive. It's immersive. There's stuff going on all the time. It was built in kind of late '96, I believe, late '95 into '96, I believe. First NASCAR race was in '98. Have hosted some IndyCar races as well. Home of the largest music festival in the world, Electric Daisy Carnival, with our friends at Insomniac Group. So there's a lot going on here all the time, and it's been really fun to be a part of all of it.
I would imagine when you come to work every day, there's a little adrenaline going before you get there.
Yeah,
Just as you get
absolutely,
there. Yeah.
without a doubt. But again, it's been so fun. Comparing NASCAR to golf, I like to tell people that I now get to have an event where we can make noise, right? And I'm really, really, really proud to say that I've had to tell people to be quiet for about 20 years, and now I can tell them all to be loud. So it's cool.
The Pennzoil 400, it's become a major spring tradition
Yeah.
in Las Vegas. This is now the 29th year?
Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
Tell us a little bit about what the series is, what it represents, and then let's tie it into Las Vegas as well, because clearly you have a lot of local fans as well as out-of-state fans that come in for these events.
Yeah, Pennzoil has been a tremendous partner and will continue to be a tremendous partner, I think, for years to come. Our spring race is really a pretty big deal. It's the very beginning of the NASCAR schedule. I think we're the fifth race this year. I was able to go to Daytona earlier this year, and what an experience that was for the first time. But the Pennzoil race is very special. We're excited about this year's race. Coming as we are also changing the playoffs and the point system and all of that. These races, the early races, are so important for all these drivers to get off to a really hard start. A really hot start. So excited for that competition and make it all happen and have a great Pennzoil 400 weekend.
Have you thought about combining your passion, your old passion with your new passion, invite a lot of golfers to the race?
I probably should. They're pretty busy as well. They just like NASCAR. They compete every weekend. I'll say the difference though, with my old job compared to my new one, my old job, I really had to concentrate a lot of the year in recruiting these professional golfers to come to my event, because at the end of the day, they're independent contractors, so they get to pick and choose which events they play in. That's obviously not the case in NASCAR. These NASCAR drivers come to the event every week in and week out. They race week in and week out, and that's different for me. To be able to promote, the series top racers, that it is a given that they're going to be at your track is actually, that's foreign to me. So it's kind of fun to think of new marketing strategies to promote, to promote, our top drivers. So
Sure.
it's always
Just between you and me and the audience. I mean, nobody else will know. Do you ever wear earplugs?
Well, I mean, I guess I have. Yeah. I didn't in Daytona. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I had to put my earplugs in when I was at the starting line of the NHRA event last year. So I did do it that time. I don't typically carry them in my pocket though, but you might see me cover my ears occasionally.
Yeah, you don't need it for golf, but certainly for racing sometimes.
I want to hear the fans scream, right?
Yeah,
Unlike
oh yeah, you'll hear them.
golf.
You'll hear them. What makes the Pennzoil 400 different than the South Point 400 race, which comes up later, obviously? So,
Well, we obviously get to highlight the sponsors in a different way, right? With South Point, being such an incredible staple of the Las Vegas community. We really get to kind of focus on their tradition, a lot of the kind of like their Western culture tradition, as well as they activate in the fan zone with like the Clydesdales to kind of bring their Western kind of tradition and history at South Point to our fan zone area. So that's one of the differences. But I'll also say we do try to keep the events consistent. That way, people know what to expect when they do come to Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and that doesn't mean that there aren't going to be some subtle changes here and there, and really per event. But we also want to make sure that our experience is consistent, so people do kind of know what to expect from race to race.
when you look at the extended fan experience this year, because that's part of the whole appeal of it,
Mhm.
what's going to be some of the features of this a more immersive fan experience, I guess is the way to phrase it.
Yeah, and one thing I like to say about the fan experience too, and I've said this about golf, is that I believe that the NASCAR fan experience can be anything that the fan wants to experience. It can be anything they want it to be, whether they want to skip all the fanfare in the fan zone and just go straight to their seat and wait for the race to begin, or if they want an experience with the family and enjoy our kind of kid zone within our fan zone where we have some games specially designed just for the kids. We also have some value meals that will happen at the concession stands to make sure that it's really affordable for our families, along with free tickets on Saturday for kids under the age of 13, and then also $10 tickets for kids in NASCAR. So we're really trying to make it as affordable as possible for the families. But also, if you're looking for kind of a higher end experience, we have the club level and the suite packages, and then I think really one step above that, if you're looking for a bougier type experience where you're really looking to kind of be in the middle of all of it and really have a great food and beverage experience, we have the Blackjack Club, which sits on the third floor of the Local IQ Digital Center, right above our media center. That I think is one of the best views in the sport, looking right down on the start finish line from the infield, overlooking the pits, and having a great experience there. So I believe, again, the experience at a NASCAR race can be anything that you want it to be. And it can be different things throughout the day as well, depending on what, again, you want it to be. And I think that's kind of what makes the fan experience special, because you don't have to be a motorsports fan. Just like when I was in golf, you didn't have to be a golf fan. You can come out just for the experience and have a great time. Because we do have an immersive fan zone where Toyota, who's our official car of the Speedway, will have a great exhibit. Cracker Barrel will have a fan stage where we'll have some entertainment on that stage. We have all of those great merch trailers as well, where you can pick out as loud of a shirt that you want to wear for the weekend. It's always fun, and a lot of kid activities. So yeah, I think we have all the components to have a great weekend. And again, check the boxes of what you want that fan experience to be.
Right. Has that experience always been targeted on that wide of a range? What I mean by that is we talked about the high end side, and we also talked about the family side. And
Mhm.
so I'm sure there's several generations that will go to a lot of these races, and it's an opportunity for kids who have maybe not experienced to look to appreciate it. And then as they get older and become adults and they have kids, they bring their kids and then
Yeah,
grandkids.
yeah, yeah. I wish I really knew the answer to your question. I would say though that that has changed. I think there was a heyday of NASCAR in the late '90s and the early 2000s where you'd get hundreds of thousands of fans to attend week in and week out. Because they just loved the sport. They loved racing. They loved being loud. And I think it's evolved a little bit where we need to make sure that, the tickets that we sell have a lot of different amenities for people to enjoy. So I think we've done a good job adjusting that. I think the sport, for the most part, has done a good job, and all the racetracks have done a good job, having different options for people. And I hope we continue to grow in that space too, because I'd like to continue to have more and more options for people.
I mentioned Pennzoil race on the 15th, but the day before on the 14th is the LiUNA NASCAR O'Reilly Auto
Mhm.
Parts Series race. Now, how does that differ from the Pennzoil race in terms of presentation or cars? And
Yeah.
I'm asking from the point of view of someone who knows absolutely nothing about the subject.
Yes, and I'm still learning about that subject as well. But like that race is kind of like the last step for that driver to get into the Cup Series to be racing on Sundays, right? So from a competition standpoint, the cars I believe are just a little bit different than the Cup Series race. However, these drivers are looking. They have a very similar point setup and playoff setup as the Cup Series, and as they perform better on that, the better opportunity they have to eventually get to the Cup Series, as a Cup driver might leave or retire, or their team might be looking for a change, and they look for that next guy that's coming up from the O'Reilly Series to take over that spot. The presentation of the race, outside of the competition, is going to be very similar to what it is on Sunday. I mean, our fan zone is going to be open. Tickets are going to be available for all the locations that I kind of talked about earlier. Maybe the fanfare and some of the pre-race activities won't be as much as the fanfare will be for the Cup race on Sunday. But we try to keep the product pretty consistent so people understand what they're going to get. But the Saturday race should be a lot of fun as well. And I kind of looked at a little bit of the extended weather forecast, got to the week before the race, and we're looking at mid 70s for highs. So it really should hopefully be some beautiful weather here in Las Vegas this
You,
spring.
you get a chance, and because of the nature of your position, to go on down and meet a lot of the drivers and the crew and owners, et cetera, sponsors, et cetera. Do you find that it's a that's relatively new for you? As you say, you came into it from a golf background and
Yeah,
special events background. So this
yeah,
is a whole other world, although you've been with them since 2025 in March.
yeah.
So what's that like when you get a chance to go down to the pits and you're in the pit area and you're meeting people, and not everybody has that access. You certainly do. So
Right,
I assume
right.
you use it partly to continue to educate yourself and get a chance of seeing what some of these drivers are like. And
Yeah, there's so many people that I still need to meet too. It's pretty wild. I try to stay off of the pit road really as much as I can. I want to see what happens down there. I want to meet some drivers, but they're also working, right? And they're preparing for the race. I don't need to get in their way at all, as I want to make sure that the crowd flow is going well, the parking is going well, people are in their suites, people are in their seats. That's really where my responsibility is, not so much, trying to meet a driver. But with that said, it's important that I get out there and meet all of the kind of influencers of the sport, including the owners and the pit crews and the drivers, because any type of feedback that they can give me is as valuable as the feedback that we'll get from our fans post race to make
right.
sure that we're building the best race possible in the future.
Yeah, I think too, because your focus is on operations, but it's important to get some of the culture uh, understood as well, because that
Right.
can help operations in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
One thing you didn't mention at the in the beginning when you said it, events are very similar in terms of you need this parking, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I threw in the words food and beverage, and I didn't think you heard me, but I think that's very important.
Yeah.
So, how
Yeah.
do you work that out in terms of deciding the kinds of food and beverage for a race? Is it a standard offering, or is it geared to those specific races?
Kind of a standard offering. I don't think it kind of depends on the actual race. When it comes to our premium level food and beverage options, we work with a great caterer on site, Levy Catering, who's been with us for a long time, and they know this property inside and out as well, and have their kitchen on site. But their operation is very important to us because ultimately, our spectators, whether it's a spectator in a grandstand or in a suite level, a lot of their experience, and if they had a good time, will come down to what they believe the value of the food and beverage experience is. So we'll work hand in hand with like our suites and our club level premium buyers to make sure that they understand what the food and beverage options are and that they're comfortable with that. And then can also put some of them in direct contact with the food and beverage staff, especially if they have any allergies, they're gluten-free or vegetarian, vegan, etc., to make sure that we're checking those boxes for our fans, because we don't want to leave, one certain group of food eater out. Now, when it comes to our spectators that are in the grandstands, I think Levy does a great job at having a various array of different food and beverage options. And we lean heavily on the food truck market here in town. But, whether it's Asian food, Mexican, or just corn dogs, hamburgers, chicken sandwiches, you can almost find anything that you're really looking for, including ice cream. And that goes for anyone who comes on site. If a sweet person wants something different than their suite, then more than likely we have that available. But the food and beverage piece is really important. And I talked a little bit about the bougie option in the Blackjack Club. But I was on a podcast or an interview, I want to say it was a month or so ago, and I was told it might be the first time anyone's used the word bougie on Sirius XM Radio, the NASCAR channel. So I like that. I like that. Means I'm talking about it a lot. But but there's carving stations, right? There's carving stations in the Blackjack Club, to really amp up that food and beverage experience inside.
Yeah, I'm going to try and sneak into the Blackjack Club. I think that's the place to be. Now, here's a great idea for you guys if you can do it. I think you'd have to get licensed, obviously, but to have blackjack at the Blackjack Club as a little added amenity and revenue producer. What do you think?
That would be cool. We got to find the right partner, right? So if anyone's listening, we're open to some conversation.
How many people can you fit into? I don't know if that's the word, fit into. How many people can go to, in this case, the Pennzoil 400 race, and that's March 15th. How many people can you get into that facility at a max, I guess?
As a whole, or just the Blackjack Club?
No, as a whole. Sorry. Yeah. I wasn't specific, but as a whole.
Yeah, where our grandstands hold about 60,000 plus
Nice.
plus suite level and some of the infield amenities. So we'll just say 60,000 plus. So we're working our way to get back to those numbers, and
the Blackjack Club, I think it just allows one person in, and I'm happy to be that one person.
That's right. We'll provide you that special bougie food and beverage experience.
Now, how does I was thinking about, for someone who's not been to a NASCAR race, why is the Pennzoil 400 the perfect introduction to the sport? Is there a particular part of it that really appeals to people who have never been exposed to racing before?
I would say it probably comes with a little bit of the star power that we'll have kind of outside of the race. I mean, listen, when you come to a NASCAR race, you're going to expect some stuff, right? You're going to expect it to be loud and colorful, right? That's kind of what I've been saying. It's going to be loud and colorful. Like, you're going to expect that, whether that's here or Bristol or Texas or Atlanta or Daytona or whatever. It's going to be loud. But I think NASCAR here in Las Vegas packs a little bit more of a star power just because of the reach we have in the city, and also kind of how we are in the same region of some really great feeder markets that can bring some celebrities out. And so can't announce any of those yet, like I'm sure you want me to, but we're going to have a great Grand Marshal this year. We've got a great group that's going to sing our national anthem, but I think that it's that extra kind of added star power that you're going to see here in Las Vegas, really for both of our races, whether it's Pennzoil or the South Point 400, that I think can be very appealing to someone who hasn't been to the race.
Yeah, that sounds great. Besides the star power, and clearly we have so many stars that perform in Las Vegas in and of itself, that connection between Las Vegas as an entertainment, as I alluded in the opening, there's that entertainment factor in Las Vegas, And really, what you do out there too is entertainment, and it's almost a synergy that goes on between the two.
Yeah. Yeah.
Between the
You're
Speedway and the Strip, so S&S, Speedway and Strip.
Speedway in the Strip.
Yeah,
What has made this track so successful through the years? I mean, we would love to sit here and say it's because of, the customer service and the experience that we provide. But we know that it has a lot to do with the Strip and the hospitality and the resorts and the entertainment that is provided down there. So we are very, very lucky and blessed to have such a great partner in the Strip and the Strip properties and the LVCVA, and work, hand in hand with them to bring some of the best, events in the world to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And without the support that we get from the Strip, probably wouldn't be possible. So
right. And that's been part of
we're
it.
very excited about it.
That's been part of it from the beginning too. It's that synergy that goes on in a lot of different ways in Las Vegas, where one part of the mix supports the other part of the mix.
Sure. Yeah.
For example, people coming
Absolutely.
in from out of town, they're going to stay at hotels on the Strip or downtown
Yep.
and attend the event as well. How's the parking set up? So for people coming out, and for locals know already, you just go out by 15 and you're there.
Yep.
So is there a tier system for parking as well, or is it just general parking for everybody?
No, there's definitely different levels. If you're a sponsor, if you're like in the Blackjack Club,
Right,
there's different parking that's kind of available or that comes with that ticket. Like our lot 4 or lot 3, which is kind of inside the infield. So if you're in a certain, premium product, it will come with the corresponding parking pass that makes the most sense for them to be able to access.
right.
Outside of that, we have one paid parking opportunity that comes with some amenities called Lucky 7 parking. And what makes Lucky 7 parking very appealing, outside of it kind of being towards or at the very front of our general parking lot, is that it provides access for you to be one of the first group of cars to leave the facility. So you're kind of paying that extra price for the access to leave
Right.
immediately. So from the moment that the race is over up to about 45 minutes afterwards, there's a special lane that people who park in the Lucky parking lot can exit to get on the road faster than anybody else. And then you have just our general parking lot. It's free. So if anyone is just looking
Nice.
for free parking, you can just show up. You don't need a pass. You show up, you get off the 15, and they'll direct you to the general parking lot, and you can park there. But to me, there's great value in Lucky 7 for the people who don't necessarily want to wait in the line to get out. They kind of have more of a direct shot out to the 15.
I'm going to stay overnight at the Blackjack Club. That way I don't have to worry about that.
That's right. We'll set up a cot for you
Yeah,
inside
thank you.
there
I
too,
appreciate
so
it,
you can just
Patrick.
enjoy
Thank
it the
you.
next day.
The last thing before I let you go, well, what do you want people to take away from the experience?
Uh, Hopefully just a really great time. I want to see smiles as people are coming out, and I want people to say, that was, a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be, especially if they're a first timer. I want them to say that they can't wait to come back, right? That is really what I'm most eager to find out is, because we want to continue we want to grow this. We want to get this back to the levels that we were before here, and try to get 10, 15,000 more people to come out to the race and see a really great sport, a really fun sport, and a really loud and fast sport, right? So
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a great way to leave it. My
yeah,
bougie guest has been Patrick Lindsey, Senior Vice President and General Manager of the Speedway. He's talking about the upcoming Pennzoil 400 on March 15th. For ticket information, go to lvms.com. That's lvms.com. Patrick, thanks for being on the show.
thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
See you next time.